hello, and warm welcome to everyone listening to us. This is indeed Ghana's greatest auto show with your host, the greatest to ever do it. My name is Shecanic, and I'm excited to have you here. Even more exciting, have you seen the topic for today? Have you guys been seeing the post on Facebook already? Woo! We're having a lot of eyeballs on this because of the people we invited onto the show. I'm typically excited about this one. So when it rains, when it floods, honestly, I don't know who else agrees with me on this one, but I think we have to start commemorating floods in Ghana, like how we have the festivals. Let's just admit it, that no matter what, whoever comes into power, we still do not have the right solutions. Everything is so ad hoc. It just happens. Knee-jerk solutions. We need real solutions because year after year after year, Accra gets flooded. What is the solution? So tonight we're going to be talking about this and more. We have an Asna in-house. We have the insurance broker, Amma the insurance broker. We have Elom, who is real life experience. We have Morris, who's representing all the mechanics in Ghana who are happy about the floods. And then we have the ever beautiful Gladys Tete to share her experience with us as well. But before we go into this segment, how about auto trend? Let me tell you what is trending. Have you noticed that BYD, even though, let's say, Trump is putting so much tariffs on cars from India, cars from China, BYD chose to go into the European markets. And guess what? They're doing a lot better than Tesla. So for those who are waiting for their colonial masters to approve on the vehicle before they do, there you have it. BYD is outselling Tesla. Can you believe it? Now let's get back to our shores, the shores of Ghana. What is happening in Ghana is the floods. So from now till an hour, we'll be talking about the floods. And in between, I'll make sure I bring you the Beginners Auto Workshop and the Now You Know segment. Stay tuned. When it rains, the cost to cars and commuters. I'm going to leave my prestigious guests to introduce themselves. So we have an all banks, all cylinders fired up. We have Bank One, who happens to be
Victor Lomoga, with Novel Technologies. I serve as a team lead. Yes, and then the brains behind Propeller.
Oh, but you know what? He's just trying to be modest. So Victor does a lot more than that. I'm sure with time you would get to hear his perspective and realize that this guy is deep. He's deep. And then in Bank 2, who do we have?
We have Amma Kumsen, popularly known as Amma the insurance broker. I'm a chartered insurance professional and a practitioner for over a decade of experience. So we are here to have fun.
Wow, did you hear that? This is someone's lifetime, a whole lifetime. And in Bank 3, Daddy Mo. Introduce yourself, Daddy Mo.
My name is Morris of Motec, head of Motec. I think I take about 10 years as well as.
Ooh.
Yeah, so.
Ooh, we are indeed in safe hands. And then who do we have in Bank 4?
Okay, so this is Gladys Tete, sales lead for Casona Global Imaging. I work for a company that deals into medical equipment. So we're into health. I love to save people in the sense.
Yes.
So I think the discussion on flooding is something that I'm interested in.
Rightly so. The ever lovely Gladys Tete. So in no particular order, I'm gonna not yet, but I'll set the mood. Now, when it rains or during floods, when it floods, there's a group of people who are excited, and there's another group of people who are devastated. And all of us here happen to be on both sides of this equator. We'll start with, you should see the way Elom is nodding. Go on our Facebook right now. just watch Elom. Elom, I'm going to allow you to start first because I can tell you have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so flood is not something I'm happy to hear about because I have some. Whenever I hear about it, then it reminds me of my past. I mean, what happened to me in 2018, which I don't normally talk about it.
What happened?
Because my car got flooded.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing with us?
Yes,
what happened?
Course. So I'm into tech. So most times I have suppliers who bring me goods in Accra. So when our goods come, I'll have to drive, go pick them. When I'm sourcing new products too, I have to drive to the supplier. Then, I need this X amount of PCs. I need this X amount of RAMs. I need this, So I went to Accra to make one of my rounds. I went to my supplier. We talked. So normally, when I go to, there's one of them at Circle, Tiptoe Lane.
Okay.
When I go, there's a place I park. I park at Newtown, then I walk.
Okay.
I take about 10 minutes walk to this place because Tiptoe Lane, where do you park? There's not enough car park. So that place is in a sort of downhill. You drive down to park. Yes, in front of an apartment. So that was my safe haven, my safe space. Yes. So we're talking, and then the weather changed. It's like, hey, Charlie, this weather, you have to wait before you go. So okay, let me wait because the way it was cloudy, I just didn't want to risk it. And then it started raining. We thought maybe after 30 minutes, the rain is going to, stop. It didn't. Continue 1 hour, 2 hours.
Oh wow!
Yes, that day it rained for like 3 hours.
Wow.
So, yes. So when 2 hours into the rain, then we heard that part of Circle started flooding.
And then
well, I thought I was safe. So he asked me my supplier asked me where I parked. So that side of say, Charlie, you are not safe. It was close to Kalke at that time. You are not safe. Let's go and check it out. But we couldn't even. It was still raining, so we couldn't even go out. To my surprise, when we got close, my car flooded to the window.
Wow!
Level.
Wow!
Yeah.
What car was it?
It was a Corolla.
Wow! But even though I'm sure you must be traumatized.
That's my only car then. So
Yes.
it was a Corolla then. I was just standing there. I was just.
And the water has seeped.
Yeah,
right?
it has seeped. So when I parked, I didn't fully roll up.
Oh no! Because the sun.
I wasn't using AC by then,
Right.
so I had so that at least some air will circulate through the car and all of that too.
Right.
And when I got there, I was struck. I was just looking at it. Wow. I was even shivering.
No, to think that we allow all these shops to spring up yet.
That's the way. I was very traumatized.
It is.
Just looking at it.
That's your investment.
That's my investment.
That is your
honestly.
investment.
And then in that time of business too, it was a huge access to me. And
Yes.
then I had to, we had to come and tow it the following day because that day we couldn't because of the flood.
Yes.
I have to wait for I think about 2 days later. Yes, that's when the flood finally.
At least you went to see your car and
Yeah, it was so
all the parts were all the parts
the
were
battery
inside.
was gone.
How?
Yeah, the battery was gone. It was close to Circle. That I went, the battery was there. That's the only thing. And then the tape
Was gone.
Yeah, the tape.
No, but you know what amazes me to think of how we still take rent money from all these shop owners, but we don't make provision for car users who come and patronize the shop.
Yeah.
So there's no parking, nothing.
There's no parking, no. Those are shops at Circle, the Tiptoe. Where there's not even there's not any proper general car park there.
So I know radio gives results. So the authorities listening, there was a time we were hard on every house having toilet facilities in Accra. Can we do this too with the shops? Let's make a conscious effort. every shop owner or the real estate agent should make sure that there's car park for at least 2 people. Or maybe, Victor, sometimes people try to evade paying the AMA parking. Was that your case? I mean, you can share with us.
No, that was not the case. Because the problem, I didn't have anywhere to park.
Yeah, there was no option.
If you go to Tiptoe Lane, you know that place, you know how the Sycamore area and that.
Yes. That's our Silicon Valley.
Yes, of course. You didn't get anywhere to park. So, I mean, I had to go. That was every time I go and do business in that part of town, in that part of the city, that's where I park. And unfortunately, that day, I mean, it's not something that I really like. It brings a lot of sad memories. You know.
Did you see a therapist afterwards?
No, in Ghana. Yeah, I'm one person who shares a lot on Facebook, especially things that happen. But I never talked about this one.
Right.
Because it was very, it really got to me.
Right. We'll come back to you and
then
ask.
The cost,
we'll come back to the cost. Yes, we'll have to come back. So Gladys, do you have a similar experience where it flooded and?
I would also say I think it happened in 2018, but maybe not about the same
what a
time.
year it
So I was
was.
working and I had to drive to town, see my customers and all that. So I think it started raining and I was trying to maneuver a curve and I entered into a gutter. Yes, because of the water was too high, I couldn't see that there was a gutter by the curve. Yes, so it took a while for people to come and help and get me out of that situation. So yes, flooding is a terrible situation, but more so because I studied geography in school, and for a long time I wanted to do urban planning. Yes, but I didn't pursue that. I'm not into sales. Yes, but so that's why I'm very, I wanted to have this discussion, because the way we plan the city, I'm actually very amazed these days when I still see gutters being constructed without covering them. Open gutters, I don't even know. That is outmoded, and we are still doing that even now. All the new constructions on the roads are still being done as open gutters, which is unfortunate.
Even with the real estates, gated communities.
Right.
To think that we had a chance to start over with these gated communities, but nobody is making sure.
Don't even go there with them. They are even structuring buildings in roads or pathways and all of that. Waterways, they are building in waterways. So it's unfortunate that we have to go through all this, Yeah, I
2025. I totally agree with you. Amma, I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. Amma is an insurance broker and Morris is our in-house mechanic. But before we continue with Morris and Amma, would briefly bring you the Beginners Auto Workshop, where we teach you a thing or two how to, let's say, maybe if Elon and Gladys had listened to Vroom 2018, they would know what to do. So the Beginners Auto Workshop is the next segment. We'll let Morris do the justice.
So we'll talk about the 5 things to do when your cars are caught up in flood. So first of all, you are not supposed to start the car when it's flooded, because when you do, then you will connect the electrical parts in the car. You just start them and then they'll just jam up. Number 2, I think you should have to disconnect the battery. Yeah, make sure you take off the battery terminal before you do anything else. And then I think the next thing we'll have to do is unlock all the doors, open all the doors, make sure all the excessive flood in the car is out of the car. I think these are the 4 major things you are supposed to do. And I think the final thing will have to be done by the mechanic. This is where they will have to check your oil to see whether there is any water contaminants in the engine. So these are the 5 main things to do when your car is caught up in the flood.
This is brilliant. Thank you so much, Morris. So, ladies, there you have it. And the gentlemen that are listening to us, there you have it. So, make sure you take off your terminals, unlock your doors so that the water can come out. For Elam, he had to wait for 2 days to be able to unlock his door. And don't start the vehicle yet. Otherwise, you would be engaging all the electronics and electricals. Don't get them active yet. And check your oil. You remember we talked about hydro lock a couple of episodes back when water gets into your pistons and your chamber. Let me explain what it is. It's like drowning. Okay, so our lungs, our nose, the lungs is not supposed to compress water. So if you're in the shower and water goes through your nose, see, it feels very, very uncomfortable. Yes, it's supposed to compress air. So in human beings, we say, oh, you drowned in the pool or you drowned at sea. For vehicles, we'd say it had hydrolock. Morris, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Hydrolock or water hammer.
Ooh, water hammer. That's another one. Well, you see, we cannot wait to have Morris back in the studio because he's going to show us a lot of terms. So, ladies, when you go to the workshop, now you say, oh, I suspect my engine has hydrolock or water hammer. Let's be technical. Let's show the guys that we know what we are doing. So yes, this is your beginners auto workshop. Thank you for listening. Let's get back to the discussion. You heard a lot from Gladys and Victor. So I'm gonna, with all that Victor said, I'm gonna pass it on to Amma. What were his means of compensation in that moment?
All right, thank you very much to you and then your cherished viewers and listeners. So as I was listening to Victor's story, I was empathizing with him, and it's so unfortunate that I'm not sure she had a comprehensive insurance at the time.
No?
Yes, so he would have been compensated.
Wait, do we all have comprehensive? Let's just be honest.
No.
So before even I go there, I would love to let your viewers and your listeners know the type of insurance policies, motor insurance policies that we have that are available and the ones that you could claim under flood. So Ghana currently we have 3 types. We have the third party, which I believe that was what Victor had. And we had the third party fire and theft, which basically covers the liabilities to the third party. So if you run your car into somebody else's car or somebody else's property, or you knock somebody down, unfortunately the person gets injured or dies, those liabilities, that's what the insurance company will pay, plus fire and theft. So if the fire guns the car, or somebody steals a part or whole of the car, that's where you'll be compensated. Now we come to the Ogoro one, which is the comprehensive insurance. So comprehensive insurance will cover the car itself. We call it own damage. So as you are giving us your mechanic terms, I'm also telling you our terms. So for the car, we call it own damage. As in your own damage. So the damage to your car as a result of an accident, 1, as a result of fire, 2, as a result of flood, or any other accidental event that may occur to your car, which is not technical, which is not mechanical or electrical. Okay. So if everything is accidental, whatever happened is accidental and it's not mechanical, or mechanical sometimes because you are not doing your servicing and things, that's when it. Yeah. But when it's accidental damage, the insurance will take care of it. So that's the comprehensive. Okay. So when we put Victor's story in perspective, assuming Victor had a comprehensive insurance, yes, it would have pained him that he's seen his hard-earned car submerged into water, but then he could have been compensated for the cost that will be accrued to him if he's supposed to change the engine. Basically, it's the engine that gets damaged when the car.
So even though it was third party, he could have still.
No. So, like I mentioned, third party and third party fire and theft, you will not get any compensation for that.
Okay, Amma, let me try and explain what I meant. So, in a case where the municipal assembly are supposed to make sure that the gutters have been silted, right, and make sure we don't have open gutters, which is okay, and then also in a case where it is human induced. If our policymakers are not enforcing it, why should I bear the cost? Yes, so when I imported the car, number one, I was paying the levies and the taxes for bringing the car in and driving. And it's a social contract.
Yeah.
If I pay X amounts, you make sure that I have safe roads to drive on.
Yeah.
And my car would be fine.
Yeah.
It's not a case where Elon was intoxicated and he went to fall in Kolegona. No. This is something that was, apart from it being it's not even a natural disaster, because there are some countries where it rains for months and it never gets. Case in point, I think Netherlands the whole of that country is on water. So this is something that, if you ask me, somebody has to pay for it. The municipal assembly or the engineers, or because this case of, because you didn't do comprehensive so we can't cover, I think it's just a very nice way of dodging everything else. Elom, I'm sure you agree with me.
So as for this, maybe we could look at it at the national level. Yes, that we would engage all stakeholders. We have the government, the ministers, whoever the people in charge. We have the engineers and all that, and we engage them and say, okay, if we put all these structures in place, it's likely we are not going to get flood. So hence our car will not have this. But should it happen, then we are going to get some compensation. But as it stands now, the policies that we have right now, if you have a third party, is basically your liabilities to the third party, which will get compensation.
I think it's very, very unfair. Is there a governing board that has our welfare and well-being at heart? A governing board that is not just about taking monies from drivers for insurance, in the name of insurance, but if something like this flood, this is why I'm asking this. We haven't had solution. And it's not Elom's fault that you cannot find solution. It's not Gladys' fault that you cannot find solution. Meanwhile, every year I am paying for you not having the solution. So is there any governing body somewhere that has our well-being and welfare?
Currently, I'm not sure of any, but like you mentioned, and I know Asaase Radio is really, people are listening.
Yes.
A lot of people are listening. Those who are in power are listening. So we can escalate this conversation going forward to get all the stakeholders involved so that we look at it in the future. I think that should work, because if somebody is incapable of getting a comprehensive insurance, when something like this happens, that means you are leaving everything to their own fate, which, I mean, it pains to a certain extent. So we can have that engagement. I'm sure maybe you can use your platform to also help us whip those who are in charge.
Another good example, a couple of weeks ago, a certain mall had its solar panel collapsing.
Yes,
the whole car park. So yes, I have done insurance. Yes, I've seen the sign that says if you park here, is at your own risk. But I'm not expecting
that to happen.
Whole structure to fall on my car. Yes, I've done third party. Why should I bear the cost?
Okay, that bit is not likely the person who owns the car will bear the cost.
Okay.
So when you have a building in Ghana, there are laws. Okay. When you have a building, you must have insurance on the building. First of all, we call it asset or risk insurance. Okay. And after you have the asset or risk, if it's a commercial property, you are supposed to have what we call public liability insurance. Public liability, in that should somebody else use your premises and anything happens to the person's property, then you can cover you. But really mostly, even with that, it's mostly as a result of your activities causing damage or injury to a third party, or so to speak, somebody parking the car. So if whoever is your underwriter or whoever is your broker, you discuss the likelihood of these incidences happening, they can create a policy for you and endorse what we call custody, care and control on your assets, so that we are saying that should somebody come to your premises, have his property on your premises, and there's an injury or a death or damage to the person's property, insurance will cover. So as we speak, for the issue with ANC Mall, ANC had that policy in place, which they even brought, I think, a publication out that all those cars that got affected were going to be compensated.
Well done, ANC, management of ANC Mall. That was a good one, because some years ago, a certain supermarket collapsed.
Yeah.
And we didn't hear anything from them. So ANC, good job.
Actually, with that one, there was something on it actually.
They did?
Yes. They had a policy.
How long did you hear it?
No.
Yeah, I've been in that space for a while, so and they were compensated. I'm aware of the compensation
can I ask a question though? You know, when you go to all these public places, every time they've written there, you park your car at your own risk. Risk. And so, what does it really mean?
Okay, so for that, especially when it has to do more of theft, if you park your car and perhaps it could be you even rolled up well or whatever, but you know how bad people exist everywhere. They could even have a spare key or have a way of damaging your car. So, whoever owns the shop or whoever owns the property is kind of recusing himself from any liability that may be accrued to him. So for that bit, you can go to court and deal over there. But if it's damage to your property as a result of your activity, as in the one who owns the shop or owns the building, is your activity that caused damage or injury to whoever had left the car or the property in your premises, you are supposed to bear that liability.
So, Amma, you mentioned the assets liability insurance.
Assets or risk.
All risk.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something like that for engineers? I.e., the engineer who has decided not to finish his job on time, or the engineer who has decided to cut corners and not cover his gutters? And do we have something like that?
I'm enjoying this conversation, and I think maybe we can have a whole 1-hour show only on this. Yeah. So we have a policy for them, which we call the professional indemnity insurance. Right. The professional indemnity insurance covers anyone. The word is professional. Anyone who is professional in their field, whose activity or inactivity, negligence, commission or omission cause injury or damage.
Wow.
Yes, you are teaching me engineering terms. I mean, why were you teaching me? Mechanic terms. I was teaching you, insurance terms. So there's policy for that. So it's not just for engineers. For all professionals, be it lawyer, even the jobs that you are doing right now as a presenter, radio presenter, if we have what we call libel or slander, if whatever you say causes injury could be physical or reputational injury to somebody else. Perhaps you mention somebody's name and said something which wasn't true, the person can sue you. But if you have the professional indemnity insurance, you can fall on that insurance, compensate. Same with doctors. So any professional...
Don't even get me started on negligence.
So there's a policy actually for that. So all the engineers who don't complete their jobs, mostly during the time of the project, as part of the contract of the project, they are supposed to have the professional liability insurance or professional indemnity insurance to cater for something like this.
So the reason I ask is as if, please, Engineers Association, please forgive me if I'm being too hard on you, but there are some roads that it's as if we don't consider the topography of the natural gradients. Case in point, between Shangri-La, when you're descending Shangri-La, gets into Ashana. Spanner.
Yeah.
There's a natural dip.
Yeah.
So even if you are in traffic and it starts raining, the drains, I think there's a drain, a big drain that's supposed to let the water out, but of course it's not
on the right. When
there's one towards
Oponglo as well. So with this, if the engineer didn't check or fail to do whatever analysis they're supposed to do, and they've built a very beautiful asphalt road, but whenever it rains, it's a bowl of water. Can I sue this engineer?
Good. It's a very valid question you've asked. You know, during the time of the project or before they are even awarded contracts, they are supposed to give the program, how the project will be done, how the topography of the place is, whatever you need for the place, you have to, the design, the architecture, everything is well designed in their document, their contract document.
Who goes through this document?
Yes, so if it's Ministry of Housing. If it's roads, Ministry of Road and Highways, they have engineers over there. They have Cocoa Roads, they have engineers over there. Civil Ghana Highways Authority. They have engineers over there. So they are supposed to do their job very well and make sure that this job that the person is, this contractor you've issued to, must do it according to the program lineup that he gave you.
The scope.
Yes, the scope. And then all projects have duration. So even after the durations, we have what we call the retention period. So during that period that you give to the contractor, you have to make sure that should any of such things occur, if there's a rain and the place is flooded, how is the extent of the flood? Does it cause damage to people's properties? And the engineer who was at fault, who couldn't do the job well, must be penalized. Do you get it? But we are in Ghana. We pray that the authorities will do their job and hold those people accountable. But if they finish the jobs and nobody holds anybody accountable, they pay them, they issue certificates and pay them, the job is done. Even if you take them to court, you satisfy that they did the job, so it's done. So the authorities must do their job well so that we can all be safe. Because the very place you are mentioning like this, I've had about three or four claims coming to me where cars got submerged over there and we had to pay their engine.
So, wow. So I'm sure with everything that she said, Elom, I am sure you are noting it down and go and hold somebody responsible.
So call them out. You use your social media to call them out. And
wow. So if you log in on Facebook right now, you would see the solar panels. Devastating. Imagine you park there and you're shopping in one of the shops and some, Charlie, your Lamborghini.
I saw a white Mercedes.
That would be very heartbreaking.
Yeah, very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a place that some of us visit a lot of the time, go to the place.
So this is where it makes sense when they say you park at your own risk. Indeed. Oh, wow.
So this one, they actually got compensation. ANC More decided to pay. And if ANC More has that policy I spoke about, the asset or risk with the custody, care and control endorsement passed on it, they can pay them and insurance will pay them back.
Wow. So I would want to hear from Morris, our mechanic, who's
Chief beneficiary.
Yes, who's representing all the mechanics were excited. But before then, we have an audio would want to listen. We ask a few mechanics in town how they feel about the flood, and let's listen.
The mechanic for here. So anytime it rain, what are they do? Say my client, they call me, say maybe I come to my house, they can't fix the car, give them. So as I go out like that, and then I fix them, my cars give them. So you go see, say them go talk, you say water enter them they say fuel tank inside. So me as them talk, so I know what I go do. I feel they fix the water side, that I go fix the problems with this. After I go out, then go buy things, then they take the fix, give them. So flat time there, me I feel talk, say I get money, take off them they come chow.
Opening. So who beside me say flooding see now after flooding. Say obi wo car den ni adea me fan say e be say pa na ma unchirim kakra wo no ma ba mienu miansa bi hu edi kan no car na nkasa apart from ni say ya engine body na ma no dia e den nampa so san ye electrical system e wo hu and e san electronic system so e den e wo hu na say flood this year the first idea e affected more unit electronic system. Electronic systems, say especially says flood is see. Now we be seen in Tema. Now we use battery terminal there. It will save some of the electrical systems, because electrical systems they bring capacitors, transistors, and idea. Also, now no show come up na discharge. It is a flood is nsuo no kokɔ electrical system, especially in fact emphasis na control unit, engine control unit, gearbox control unit, transmission control unit, ABS, radio, ni na electrical system. Ni na in fact electrical system what capacitors ni transistors na dey wom. Nti sɛ nsuo no come say for some period pɛ na discharge. Uti aye ya obewie no na sa control intini na majority no off. Ɛna the tosu mienu no so ni engine no engines bi o hɔ a manufacturers here no omo cover ho yie a enya nsuo ana outside edibia tumi nya access in room. Na mmom no sɛ flood no too severe na bro level a in fact say basro a etumi fa through the exhaust system. Na ewuram kakra akɔwura engine ankasa inside. Na no say kɔwuram na sɛ ɛkyɛ kakra engine tumi tamu na aform aye corrosion wom. Aform corrosion was cylinder walls no na ade. Ebi wɔ kora etumi tie cylinder head ne soro ɛwɔ combustion chamber no mu. E tie so sa na sɛ we na after flood so because chemical na o crank ya tumi bene o connecting rods ne ade. And I be also because of debris and not here nwura bi na dey tumi kɔwura wɔ mu a na ama achichi bearings ni identity bi what me after flood no 10 engine crank 10 so utie ye na unya mechanic bi oyɛ good na so utumi bie so check na utie ye dey tumi free no ba anya sa na se koye severe dia ba wie na corrosion asay block mu ina ba sa you have nothing else than to replace your engine. Now the most important part electronic parts na control unit no because in that car see door electronics, instrument class electronics, seat quiet is electronics. Ni na they affected. Until after flood ni no criminal and your my affected more pa. See so open chimwa the basic in your
Looks like we just had an auto class. The second person was very, very in-depth. And I'm sure it reminded you of a lot of things. I'm so sorry. But you see, the thing too about flood is, in Ghana, where we don't check our manholes. No, listeners, I'm sorry I have to make this example. We don't check the manholes. So when your car is flooded, it has all sorts of things in the water. All sorts. It's not just the dirt, but it comes with a whole lot of polluted stuff. I'm so sorry. Just looking at you, I'm imagining the trauma. The trauma. And then I like how the second voice we heard, he took us through and made us understand. What he said was, you have to make sure that the water it would get in, but you have to disengage all the electronics. He mentioned a lot of the ECUs, the body control modules, all the modules. I'm sure Maurice will tell us more about that. So I'll leave it to Maurice. Maurice, how do you feel just listening to your colleagues in the business saying, oh, they make a lot of money, this is their cocoa season? Is it the same for you? You know, you can be honest.
When it happens that we get work to do, so we get paid. So right. It's true.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong at all. But I wanted to talk about two things.
Go ahead.
The position you'll be in when your car is flooded. So it's more severe when the car is moving than when it's parked. So what happens is, when your car is moving, the engine is running, and the engine is like a suction machine, which is inducing in how do I put it, a mixture of petrol and gases. Yeah. So during that operation, when your air duct, the part that takes in air into your engine, is beneath your engine, it will suck in the flood water and send it into your engine. And just as Nana said, water is incompressible. So when you are driving and you get through the flood, it's more severe than when parked. So I think what the second person said is, I think he said more. Yeah, he mentioned more. So what happens is when you are parked as well and your car is flooded, for that one, the only thing that might be a problem will be your electronics, because at then your engine is off. So yeah, so what happens is water gets into the modules, the junction boxes, the fuses and all that. So at that time, what you can do is you take the terminal off. Maybe if you want to do a DIY, you wait a while, take the things apart, let the water get out of the car, and then I think that can save you before the mechanic comes in. But when you are driving and it happens and your engine goes off, I think at that point you will be dealing with a lot of problems.
Morris, hold that thought. I want to ask, how did you fix the car? Did you try fixing the car?
Yeah,
when
so
it happened?
after the outage, we had to tow it to the mechanic shop.
Okay.
Yeah, so eventually I had to get the engine replaced.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because of what Morris just has explained.
Yeah. Even though I didn't move it, but I think the level the water got to
was too much.
Yeah, it was too much.
Or maybe the technicians didn't just want to work.
They didn't want to work.
They didn't want to work, so just to replace it.
Yeah, they could have saved you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they could have.
Okay. I mean, that was
what about your control units?
I think I didn't have much problem with those ones, but the engine itself, I mean, they told me I had to replace it.
Wow.
They tried working on it, and they're telling me you can do overhauling, you can buy it to worry me and all of that. I mean, I don't like those kind of stuff, so I told them to.
I think you're rich.
No, not like that. I mean, if every day, now and then you have to take your car to the mechanics. I mean, it's
what about your interior? Did they affect your? I mean,
Yes,
was it leather or was it upholstery?
No, it was. I think
Did it get?
it wasn't a
soaked in?
leather.
So
it
it got
was soaked in. So
Yeah.
Cloth.
I should have shared pictures with you. So they had to remove everything.
Wow.
And
And
so then
reupholster
yes,
it.
then they had to.
What about your fuel tank?
They
Did you get
so he did a lot of things that I have to replace.
the injectors? you had to replace and all
So
that.
I did that, and then I eventually had to turn it into a company car. So
Do you still have the car?
Yeah, I still have it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
nice.
there.
Oh, well done. You must have done a good job.
No, I
So
it's a company car, so I mean, we use as a company. We use it for
good.
office rounds and other things. So,
but
I mean, it's
so it ended well. The story ended well.
No, I had to spend a lot of money. That is the whole point.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent the money that I spent on the car would have done a lot for me in the business and other things. So I mean,
It's a shame it had to come out of pockets.
Yeah, it had to come out
Yeah,
of pocket.
I want to come in.
My last one.
Yes.
I think he made a very good point. When it's flooding and I watch the news, you see some of the cars, the trotros, they are driving inside.
How long are you supposed to drive through?
You are not supposed to drive through
Yes,
sad
but
water.
sometimes you want to go home.
Sometimes you get to the point that the level it gets to some few centimeters to the window level.
Yeah.
Then they are still driving inside.
No.
It's dangerous.
It's very dangerous because
They can die.
when it's rain, I will not move.
I think what it is they know where their air intake is.
Yeah.
Because as in they know where they're. So ladies, air intake is like your nose.
Yeah.
So if I stand by Victor, my air intake is lower because I'm short, and Victor's air intake will be higher because she's tall. So that's probably, but they're not supposed to do that. But there are a lot of things these social people are not supposed to do, but they do anyway.
Like for instance, you're already on your way home from work, and it's a long journey. Rain has started. You know, let's say from Accra to Adenta, that's the major, flood zone. Yeah, and you're on your way. You can't stop and wait.
Me, I've done some
Sometimes
before.
there's even
I'll go and park somewhere uphill then.
But you still pass through the water.
No, I'll wait. I mean, I'll let the rain. Sometimes it's raining, but they're still.
Why must living in Accra be an Olympic sport? You see how you have to calculate what you should do. But what I want to find out from Morris is it even cost effective to even try to fix at all? I mean, when your car is submerged in flood waters, writing it off versus repairing it? What would you advise?
Well, again, it depends.
Oh.
It depends how your car was flooded. Again, if it was flooded through movement, you can just try and replace it. But if it was parked, per experience, what I would tackle would be your electrical components. Maybe peel everything out from the car, dry the junction boxes. So when it's parked and it gets flooded, you can save it. But when you are driving and it stops, that one, I'm not sure you can do anything about it. Yeah, even if you want to, you will spend a lot, even if it comes back.
So you might as well just write it off.
Just write it off. Yeah.
The example I gave with that road, the Shangri-La road. We had a client. He had with these new cars, the suspension, you can raise it and you can bring it down. So ladies, you can. Not, again, I'm short, but if I wear my 6-inch heel, I've changed my suspension dynamics. Sometimes I can wear sneakers and I go on sports mode. So that's what the dynamics is about. So he raised the Range Rover, but still. So eventually he had to write it off. It took us about 2 years to get it fixed because corrosion, flood-induced corrosion is it's cancerous. You don't see it immediately. That's why I'm surprised you still have your car.
Yeah.
You don't see it immediately. It just happen because it's slow. You don't see it, but it corrodes.
I still makes expenses on it.
There you go. There you go.
Yes, when they fixed it, it was an ongoing expense. Once a while, there's something to pop out. And they'll tell you, hey, I get flooded before the year.
There you go. So when Ghanaians are so happy to buy cheap cars from Europe after a tsunami or it comes with a lot of baggages. But before we come back to this discussion, I need to correct Ghanaians. Why we don't call a sedan V8.
Yeah.
Now you know. Is next. A couple of weeks or maybe some days, we've been dragging a certain MP and minister over a car that he was in, and the part where it concerns Vroom and Shecanic is this: to have adults sit on national television and say, yeah, no, 3 V8s, or 3 V8s. It's about time we stopped. Let's have a national conversation about this, shall we? If the adults, you want to still say the wrong things, please be our guest. But please don't push it down the Gen Zs and the younger ones. Rana, I fear for the young students learning auto engineering. I don't even know what the teachers are teaching them right now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about V8 and V6. So back in 1889, a gentleman called Maybach, he's a German, he designed the first V. So the V is the design of the engine. So the cylinders are arranged like a V. They all work with the same crankshaft. In the subsequent weeks, we'll have Maurice come back and tell us more about this crankshaft. I'm not going to be technical. So it works on one pillar. So if I do a V sign with my fingers, if you can see it, so this side is a crankshaft. I need to get another example. I can't think of another example. So if I put my phones together or my arms together, my wrist becomes the V. So that's the shape. Now, it would interest you to know that we have even sedans, small cars that have V-shaped engines. We have small cars like the Lexus. The Lexus, I think, is the LC 500, has a V8. And even the Ford Mustang Shelby. Please put them on the screen for those. Yes, so the Shelby, that is a V8. That has a V8 engine in it. But you don't go around calling those ones V8s. Why? So what the correction here is, just because it is an SUV doesn't mean it's called a V8. Now, this is where it even gets funny. The car that Honorable Sam George was driving does not even have a V8 engine in there. It has a 6-cylinder V-shaped engine block. So it's even a V6 turbocharged. So please do not call every SUV V8. Now, let's assume you didn't know. Now you know. And when they ask you how do you know, it's because you listen to Vroom with Shecanic. Thank you for listening. We're going to go back to the discussion. Yes, so you guys should see how all my guests are just you're all corporate. I can tell from your faces. So please, moving forward, please go and spread the word that Shecanic, you learned this on Vroom.
Yeah.
It is not called a V8 anymore. And if you see any of those political analysts saying, please just write it in the comment section. No more. No more. So yes, we need to wrap up. Final words from Gladys. I'll start with you, Gladys. What would be your final words? The cost of cars, the cost of or the flooding to car owners and commuters. What are your final words?
Okay, so I think each one for himself at this point, but I think, like we said earlier, flooding has become part of our society. That's how we have to look at it. So every year we need to have some kind of mechanism to protect our cars, provide the necessary, prepare the necessary resources to take care of it in case of any, situation like that. So, they said August break, so we'll have the rains from May till about August thereabout. So at least you're prepared and you are informed as to what to do. Yeah.
Maurice, I'm sure you have a lot to say. I'm sure you have a lot to say.
Yeah, I have a lot. So I think when it's raining, try and park your car somewhere. Don't go through. Try not to go through.
Or don't leave the house.
At all.
Just take a ride hailing.
Or try and stay
another
away.
option. Take Xtra.
Yeah. And secondly, I will urge my fellow Ghanaians to try and keep our drainages free. We should try and do the right thing so that we can avoid these floods. So I think that's just about it. Yeah.
So Amma will be
right. After all of us, every one of us have mentioned, it's very important that we look at the economic value of losing something that is dear to us, like a car. So in as much as you may think that comprehensive is expensive, which I even think is not. That's why I'm a broker. So follow me on my social media platform, Amma the Insurance Broker, or Amma Afua Serwaa Adusei on Facebook, and you can talk to me on how best you can get the best insurance products for your car, or motor insurance for your car. Comprehensive is not expensive. We can even have a very good payment plan for you if you cannot afford paying upfront. It's better to save than to say sorry. It's better safe than sorry. So it's better to have a comprehensive insurance which will take care of your vehicle at a point that it gets submerged in water or in the flood. So please, let's talk after here.
Let's talk after here, and then we have Victor.
Hey. Yeah, I think I've learned a lot on the show. I mean, if I knew what I know now in 2018, probably it's going to be different. Yeah. So I mean, as car owners, let's try and then protect ourselves. The flood is going to come every year. I mean, the solutions that we hear on radios that our leaders are offering, it's not something that is going to provide a lasting solution to this menace. I mean, last time I saw it on the newspaper, 1968.
Yes.
Yeah.
It said the rains have come.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
Accra rains.
I mean, in 2025, we are still, But I mean, just let's protect ourselves. If it's raining, park. Your life is more important. Protect yourself. Park on an uphill or something like that. Somewhere that the flood is not gonna come for you or something like that. I mean, when it's raining, I don't like driving in the rain. I mean, it's me. probably because of my experience I've had. And then, I mean, the insurance too is there. Let's buy the, how do you call it? Comprehensive ones.
Yes.
See how do you call it? But anyway, one of my cars is on it too. I mean, so I mean, it's I've learned a lot, and then I mean, let's try and then do the right thing.
Yes, so this is all the mileage we have for tonight. I have enjoyed this show. This topic has been enlightening. So thank you so much to my guests and to you listeners for listening, for joining us this entire 1 hour. This is Vroom and your guests and your hosts, Shecanic. Have a good evening.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.